What's going on, everybody? Yay here with Killing Floor 2, one of the coolest and most craziest co-op horde shooters to date. Yeah, Killing Floor. So, crazy game, good game. Definitely a worthy sequel, worth the wait for sure. Game's been out for a week. I've been so busy playing, I haven't had the time to actually do a video, but I'm doing it now. But anyways, great game. Definitely a spiritual, not even a spiritual successor. It's just an evolution, like a correct evolution of the game. New stuff, just graphical overall. That's the first thing that's going to blow you away with this game. If you ever played the first one, you will definitely see some changes going on with it as far as visuals are concerned. Everything is crisp and clean. Beautiful rendition and modding of the Unreal 3 engine here. Tripwire has done an excellent job on release as well. Very few errors outside of minor crashes and whatnot, but they jumped on that with the quickness and with hot fixes and whatnot. So that was awesome. But the game runs smooth. It's buttery smooth. And if you don't have the best of computers, it'll probably run just fine on medium or low settings for sure. We have some returning survivors here. Our friend Rob Black something. I don't know, whatever his name is. Anyways, a lot of characters, some guns, some perks, all that cool stuff. It's definitely early access right now, as they've mentioned. So what they have right now are 4 perks, about 4 or 5 selectable characters, and I would say about 30 weapons total, roundabout. The perks are Support, Medic, Commando, and Berserker. Those are your 4 classes they're starting off with, and I'm not going to go into the weapons too much, but America's favorite is definitely back, the AA-12. The fully automatic shotgun still murders everyone and everything. For the Commando, we have our tried and true Scar 20 back in action with a lot of firepower. The Medic has seen the most overhaul, though. I like that they added 3 different types of weapons for the Medic. You have the Medic pistol, Medic SMG, Medic shotgun, and Medic assault rifle. Each of those are in incremental order as far as power is concerned. So I thought that was a pretty nice way to kind of differentiate the Medic role, because in the first one, he really only had the Medic SMG, and that was pretty much a done deal. So it's nice to see that the Medics have some comparable weapon choices and damage options going down. But yeah, so it's a great game so far. The levels, they have Biotics Lab. Burning Paris is interesting because it's like a combination of West London and Manor, kind of. There's like 2 sections. So you have the main section, which is more like the cityscape of Paris, and that's more West Londonish, and there's like an underground tunnel and whatnot. And then you have one of the buildings reminds me of Manor, where it's very close quarters and has a bunch of doors and upstairs area and whatnot. So Burning Paris is really cool. I really like what they've done with that map. The third map is Outposts, which is based in, I want to say, Norway? Somewhere up in the north, because you can see the northern lights and whatnot. But yeah, so Outposts reminds me of Icebreaker. I don't think too many people played that map. I don't think it was that popular. It was popular enough to where I'm pretty sure some people have played it from the first one, especially veterans. So yeah, the map selection, weapon selection, perk selection, and everything's come together really great. As far as the boss is concerned, before I get to the boss, the enemies, they're pretty much the same from the first one, but they look really good. They look amazing in this game, and they really fleshed out a lot of the class or a lot of the enemy types and really try to differentiate them, even though they were pretty distinct in the first one. But graphically, it looks really good. There are 3 types of clots. They all do the same thing that clots do. They hold you in place unless you shoot their heads off. But what I do like is that the variation of the clots also vary in behavior. So you'll have one clot, he has like an angry gait to him, like he's just walking, he's really mad and angry. He just really wants to fuck somebody up, right? And so there's that clot, and then they have another clot that's blind. I think his eyes got removed during a test or whatever, and that's pretty disheartening and creepy. So he's like has his arms out flailing around trying to see where he's going. And then you have another clot that has like all these puncture wounds in his head, and he's kind of just flailing around like he's crazy or something, right? So 3 clots, pretty cool. You have traditional crawler, siren, stalker, and then you have your Scrake and your flesh pounds, and of course the bloat. Oh, and the husk, of course. Can't forget about Mr. Bernie Burn there. So enemy selections there is great. What I will say is that the Scrake and the Flesh Pound, they have so much character now when they attack you, as compared to the first one. I mean, it's been what 7 or 6 years since the first game was released, but even still, like just seeing the imagining and the rendition of the Scrake and the Flesh Pound, how much character they have when they're attacking you, and the different attacks that they have is very visceral. I love it. It's so crazy. I mean, and the same can be said for pretty much all of the enemy types. All the enemy types have new animations, and they have additional anime. They're not just rehashings of the old ones. They have new animations as well. So, for example, the Stalker, she has a wheel kick now. Like she'll just do like a roundhouse wheel kick type thing, and then like she does like a little front tumble like the first one, but it's a lot more clean this time. And for the Scrake, it does like this spinning attack with his chainsaw, and he does like a little mini shoryuken or something, from Street Fighter or something like that. And then the Flesh Pound, he's just crazy. Like he just goes insane. Like he'll just jump on somebody from like a couple meters away, and he'll just use his little drill arms and like try and jab you and stuff. I mean, it's like they have so much character, and I love that they've put so much time and work into making the enemies actually scary. Like it really is once you start playing this game. But outside of the enemies, the whole game has really come together, and it's really beautiful. But let me get back to the final boss here. It's not the Patriarch. He is not in this early access right now, but it is rumored, or I guess they confirmed it, but he will be in later. They're planning to have multiple bosses for each stage. So they'll have the Patriarch for one stage. They'll have this new boss called Hans, and they'll probably have some other bosses, in the pipe as the months go on. But current boss right now, his name is Hans, and this guy is ridiculous. Basically, he's a blast from the past, like World War II, Nazi Germany type feel to him. I mean, he has two MP40s with bayonets on his side. He's really skinny, but he has like all these tubes and whatnot, all connected to him and everything. And he has like little chests, similar to Iron Man, kind of little chest thing going down. And I guess with this game, what they're trying to do there, I mean, in the first one, you could pretty much, if you were good enough and if you had played the game long enough, you could essentially find a place to hold out and just sit there for indefinite amount of time until the game's over, right? You just have your berserkers and whoever else just take care of the bigger enemies such as the Scrake and Flesh Pound. Take care of those guys, and then everybody else dealing with the trash and whatnot. I mean, even the sharpshooter. I mean, it was just a field day, right? So the old game, it was more so just hanging around, holding up somewhere, and just defending your position. Killing Floor 2, they're moving away from that. They want people to actually move around and be dynamic about what they're doing, not just welding up a few doors and just holding out in some corner. So I think the level design and also how the waves spawn is reflective of that. So the first wave from Killing Floor 1, it was pretty much just, brain dead. You sit there, kill all the clots, you're done, right? But with Killing Floor 2, they pretty much turn it up to 8 right off the bat. Clots everywhere, harder difficulties, you'll get really fast clots, really fast crawlers, really fast blows, just everything's really quick. So you'll have a bigger diversity and higher difficulties. But even in normal and hard and even suicidal, which I've dabbled in, the first wave is pretty intense. But they tempered this with each class being able to start off with a weapon instead of just a standard pistol from KF1. So every class starts off with their respective guns. So for example, the Commando will start with his AR-15, his single burst fire weapon. Support will start off with a shotgun. Berserker will start off with one of the melee weapons, and then Medic will start off with with his Medic pistol, which I think should be upgraded to the Medic SMG. But I guess they'll rework that at some point. But anyways, everybody starts with weapons, so you don't start with a basic pistol or whatever. So yeah, they definitely want to take this game in a different direction. They want us to be more dynamic and move around and actually kite more. And I guess I had this ups and downs depending on what you expect from Killing Floor in general. I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's perfectly possible to hold up somewhere and defend the position. But as it is, the doors do not regenerate per wave if you're welding them. So if you weld a door and it gets broken, it's broken for the rest of the match. Like every wave, it doesn't regenerate. So that's definitely killing some of the holding up and hanging out and holding your position type gameplay. I mean, it's still possible, but I don't think it's encouraged as much as it was, or as easy as it was in KF1. So yeah, so they want us to kite more, they want us to move around more, they want us to work together more and not really run off on our own and solo Zeds and Scrakes and Flesh Pounds and all other stuff. So I think this game is going to be more team oriented than KF1 was, in a different type of respect, basically because of how the game breaks down right now, especially as far as classes. We only have 4 classes, and we don't have a heavy damage class yet. So I think a lot of the balancing isn't probably going to be worked on until we get more diversity in some of the classes. So I think until Sharpshooter, Demoman, Firebug, and then I think they have a bunch more classes planned. It should be about 10 total. So from what I know about the classes, there should be Martial Artist, SWAT, Firebug, Sharpshooter, Demoman, and can't remember the last one, but there's another one in there. Just let me know in the comments. But anyways, there's another one coming. There should be 10. So yeah, we'll see how that all plays out with balancing. But back to Hans. He's pretty ridiculous as a boss. He has 4 different phases akin to the Patriarch. So I think what they've done, they've changed up how the boss structure is going to go. They're going to have heavy damage resistance phases and regeneration phases, because in Killing Floor 1, all you had to do was 1, get the Sharpshooter, 2, get a bunch of pipe bombs, have the Patriarch come towards you, hit up all the pipe bombs, get chunks for all his health, and have the Sharpshooter take him out, right? And everybody taking pot shots in between that. So the Patriarch wasn't really even a challenge at all once you got up there in terms of level. So I think they're trying to change it around with Hans here, because with Hans, he has 4 different stages, as I mentioned, and each stage changes as you do damage to him. So you get him low enough, and then he'll go into what's called hunt mode, and so he'll start running around throwing smoke bombs everywhere, trying to grab somebody to regenerate his health. So he'll do this 3 times, and then after his final draining or whatever, after his final draining, he'll change color from each phase too. So he'll go from green to yellow to orange to red. So once he's in the red phase, that's when you can kill him. But when he's in the red phase, he has increased damage and increased speed. So it's definitely advisable to coordinate with your team and take him down properly, because if you go off trying to lone wolf him or whatever, then you're pretty much a done deal. Oh, another addition that I thought was really awesome, and it's related to the Berserker. There's a parrying system now. So as a Berserker, or anybody actually, you don't have to actually be a Berserker, as a melee weapon, if you hit the special key, you can block melee attacks, which is pretty awesome. And when you parry correctly, you can stagger the enemies. So this is especially useful for Skrakes and Flesh Pounds in general, because when you parry something, the damage is reduced by a huge amount. I think for everybody else that's not a Berserker, it's reduced by at least 80% or something like that. And for a Berserker with a Pulverizer Sledgehammer, you're reducing it by 90% per parry. So if you time your parries correctly every time, and you're still blocking, you have a medic behind you, you're basically unkillable unless you get swarmed by Zeds. But for tanking Hans, the best way to take out Hans right now, the final boss, is to have a Berserker, a medic, and maybe 2 supports with double A12s, and then the other 2 classes is kind of whatever. But you definitely need to have somebody tanking Hans as he's trying to slap you up, because once you parry him and stagger him, you can just get through his phase really quickly, get to the end, parry him until he's dead. So, and in addition to his MP40s and his melee attacks, he also has 2 different grenades. So he has gas grenades and regular grenades, and he tells you when he's going to throw them, which is pretty nice, unlike the Patriarch, where you have some random line about shooting a rocket launcher at you, and then out of nowhere you get blown to shit, right? So, a lot of his stuff is telegraphed, but a lot of stuff isn't telegraphed. And I think Tripwire needs to really work on telegraphing a lot of Hans's phases, because when he's in hunt mode and when he's running around, there's no indication that he's taking reduced damage. There's no indication that you cannot damage him while he's draining someone. So I think they need to add some graphical telegraphing or something like that, because right now, a new player coming in logically, you're like, oh, let me shoot this guy while he's draining my teammate here, because, that's free damage, right? So the only way to know that is if you have a group of experienced players or people that have played the game to tell you, oh, don't shoot him while he's draining because you won't do any damage. So I think on that front, Tripwire has some work to do as far as clarity is concerned, but, that's neither here nor there. But the game itself is primo. It's very, very good. A very, very good early access. This is an early access that other early accesses should aspire to. Honestly, if they released all the perks and all the weapons they had planned with this would be a full release. Oh, and of course the mask, but this would be a full release. Like easily spend $60 on this. This would be definitely worth your money. But as of right now, it's about $30 right now, and they said the price is not going to change no matter what they add to it. So all the next content will be free. But they will have microtransactions in the form of skins and whatever else, different characters and whatnot. Oh, and speaking of characters are awesome. I love how the banter in between them. They all talk a lot, and I think it's really authentic, and I think it really adds to the experience, because you're playing a character. And Mr. Foster is probably the funniest of the bunch, but everybody adds something to the dialogue, and I like the call outs that they have, and it's really witty and very engaging. And Of course, it wouldn't be Killing Floor without some pretty good metal going on. I guess they went with the Christian metal route, but yeah, they got some pretty good bands on here, such as Demon Hunter, Living Sacrifice, Becoming the Archetype. They have some other bands on there too that I can't think of at the top of my head, but soundtrack's not bad. It's definitely very reminiscent of Killing Floor and definitely fits the theme of Killing Floor itself. I mean, other than that, there isn't really much else to say. Just get in the game and start killing. I mean, you're gonna have a good time regardless. Oh, and beyond that, the perk system, and this is it's kind of wonky right now. As veterans may know, in Killing Floor 1, it was a serious grind to get from levels 1 to 6 in any class. I mean, it could take you months and months and months to max out a class if you were just playing, here and there, if you weren't, no lifing it. So in Killing Floor, they split up the level. It's no longer 6 levels anymore. It's gonna be, or right now, it's a total of 25. So in every 5 levels, you get a perk skill, and they can definitely do some work on the perk skills. But I like the direction that they're going in, and I like that it's not as grindy as the first one. So you can definitely hit level 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Those won't take you that long. I think within 30 and 50 hours, I'm pretty sure you can get max perk on, a specific class if you only play that class for sure. But right now, I like the way they're going. I like the direction that they're doing with the perks. Each perk itself, it scales per level. So there's more scaling involved, and it's more obvious. Like they tell you with numbers and definite numbers, like how much you're getting, how much you're doing, how much damage how much damage reduction you're getting, etc., etc. So definitely like the direction that's going. Hopefully it keeps going in that direction. There's a few tweaks they need to do, but there's nothing too drastic that they can't fix on a whim. So the foundation is certainly there. And as for the game as a whole, it's on an excellent foundation. It can definitely improve from there on. I don't really see any glaring issues with the game as of now as far as fundamentals are concerned. I mean, you're always going to have balancing to deal with. You're always going to add more guns, add more this, that, and, whatever else. But as it stands, it's a solid early access title. Definitely something to keep on the radar. Definitely something to invest in right now as the game goes on. So, but there's plenty of fun to be had, even with the limited 4 classes right now. I mean, in between the 4 classes, you're looking at least a couple months of gameplay easy. And in between that time, I'm pretty sure more perks will be coming out, more maps, more weapons. And plus, we have the community, doing mods and whatnot. So the game is pretty much poised to be a long-standing title in co-op or horde survivals. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. Nothing else really to say other than get this game now and get your friends, get everybody on this game because it's a blast. It really is a blast. It's a lot of fun, and I can't say enough about this game. So that's it for me. Please subscribe and peace out.